Let the truth be told, though the heavens fall. Let the truth be told, though the heavens fall. This is not going to be a jokey live. For those of y'all who followed me because I am a conservative leaning independent and you are a Trump supporter, this might be a night where you unfollow me. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I supported Donald Trump for his agenda for the people. And for the most part, in terms of internal policy, in terms of um, the immigration policies that he set forth, I'm on board with it. In those areas, he is keeping his promise. In terms of foreign policy, specifically what happened between Iran and Israel, he dropped the ball. And now Pam Bondi and Kash Patel in particular are on campaigns saying that Jeffrey Epstein unalived himself, case closed. Ghislaine Maxwell was brought up on charges for assisting in child trafficking, yet there were no customers to traffic to. All these children were exploited by Jeffrey Epstein himself. That's not trafficking. Anyway, he was a lone wolf actor. Case closed. When we all know that that man was intelligence, likely Mossad, and that we know that he was associated with a long list of people in the higher upper echelons of society who went to his island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And if you know, then you know about what goes down in these islands. Now, when Donald Trump ran for president, he promised us full disclosure on those Epstein files. We heard about it within those first couple of days. Oh, he brought it up. People were asking, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Delayed. Now, finally, 6 months later, it's case closed. It was a matter of he unalived himself. We looked into it. He unalived himself. It took y'all that long to come to that weak ass conclusion. If you're, hey, what's up, D Mally? It's good to see you. I see you, brother. Good to see you, Alexis. Good. I'm glad y'all are back. And I'm sorry if my tone is a little serious, but it's a serious matter. You know, again, one of the main reasons why I switched, first of all, I was done with the Democrats in 2020. I told y'all that already because they did there were too many instances of primary rigging. Right? And then also during the pandemic is when I really, I got on these YouTube streets. I started doing my research, got into the whole Epstein case. Then I learned about all the children that were being trafficked across the border. Yes, that was a big operation. And that's why to this day, even though I'm about to go off on Trump, I'm about to go all the way off. Let's be clear. I'm going to go all the way off. I still think, at the very least, he was a much better candidate than Kamala Harris. And part of the reason is because under the Harris administration, they left those borders open and over 500,000 children went missing. It is well known in South America. Y'all know I'm in Colombia. This is the country where the route through the southern border starts. When people were flying in from Africa and Asia and they were walking up the southern border, they were meeting with cartel members here first. It's where they start. This is where you pay your money and you start your way. It is well known in South America that people sell their children into slavery to the cartel. Whether it's you're going to be a foot soldier or we're going to sell you into a sex trafficking ring up through the United States southern border. And if you think that the politicians don't know this is going on, you are sadly mistaken. There are children who were wholesale being brought specifically to go to be sent to certain businesses. They weren't going to family members. They were being wholesale shipped to businesses in the United States. The United States is the largest market for child trafficking in the entire world. It's not even close. On the low estimate, 100,000 to 200,000 children per year are at risk of being trafficked for commercial exploitation. There are almost 30,000 cases per year of this is reported trafficking. So, for those of y'all who are acting like this is not a big deal and that these kids can take one for the team so that we can continue on with our MAGA agenda and that we have to pretend that Donald Trump is perfect. No, ma'am. No, sir. I will not. I will not be quiet. And part of the reason why I started my live off with Let the Truth Be Told, Though the Heavens Fall, is because I was watching Glue on LV Nation. Shout out to any of his subscribers that are here, who are now my subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate that. And there were two men talking. And one man was like, he was basically trying to say, in the grand scheme of things, can we not just let it go? And the other man looked at him like, what do you mean? Let the truth be told, though the heavens fall. What are we doing? If our kids are not top priority, the children are the future of a nation. I've heard Princella Clark say a nation can rise no higher than its women. I believe a nation can rise no higher than its children. Our future depends on it. So how can we be great when we have children being trafficked and abused and touched all over this country? And people don't think anything of it. We think we have bigger issues to solve. Hi, Jamal. What's up? Good to see you here. They kept running up on me trying to get me to sign a petition for after birth pregnancy terminate. What? That's called what? That's not a thing, Alexis. That's not a thing. That's called unaliving. That's called can I say the M word? There's no such thing as after birth pregnancy termination. That's not a real thing. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. You know what? And I've been watching Lou and I'm like, you know what? It was God that he put me in his algorithm because there's been nothing. Me and this man think exactly alike. There's been nothing that we disagree on, honestly and truly. So yes, I am incredibly disappointed. I will say I still feel like it's better. It is better for Americans that Donald Trump is the president. I don't care what anybody says about that. It's better for children that Donald Trump is the president. And I'm going to get into that big beautiful bill tomorrow, but at least we've stopped the flow of child sex trafficking through the southern border. At least we've been able to do that. That is a win. That's a win. Because that was a major source of the problem. That's a huge win for children. Yes. And if y'all are gonna be pro-life, y'all know me, my views differ on this. And that's why I say I'm conservative leaning. I'm not all the way conservative. But if you're gonna be pro-life, you have to care about what happens to these children once they're born. So you can't say that you're pro-life and then say we gotta turn a blind eye to the fact that Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and Cash Patel are lying about these Epstein files. especially when Cash Patel was one of the loudest ones about Jeffrey Epstein before he got appointed. No, 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 no. We're not letting them off the hook. We're on their ass like white on rice. And the relationship that the United States has with Israel is weird. It's not right. I don't care what I've already went through the biblical prophecy. If you want to unsubscribe to me because I disproved it, I disproved it. It don't match. If it don't fit, you must have quit. I'm gonna be on my Johnny Cochran. The prophecy does Israel don't fit the description at all. Other than the fact that it's the nation of Israel. Everything else, it don't fit the description. So if that prophecy alone is going to be the reason why we have to ignore what happened to those girls, and it might have been young boys, we don't know. And you want to get upset, that's fine. I do not care. You are an adult. Put your big boy or big girl drawers on. I don't know, Mariah, you're pretty right wing, but I'm starting to feel like this might be another Obama moment just on the other side. Can you explain that, Jamal? I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I am pretty right wing, but I'm not. The only reason why I'm pretty right wing is because the things that used to be considered Democrat, the values that the Democrat Party used to believe in, they no longer believe it. So when I say I support not Donald Trump, when I say I do support him for the most part, when I say I support RFK, who was a Democrat, who ran as a candidate to become the Democrat nominee, when I say I support his Maha movement, that used to be something that other Democrats supported. I can go back and pull up videos of Hillary Clinton saying that she believes that we should close the border. So I'm right wing because the Democrat Party has lost its mind. This another Obama moment where we know what we ordered. He got the right people, but the deep state in Ziocons still in control. Exactly. So this lets me know this right here, what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. I officially understand. Do our votes matter? Yes, to an extent. Because let's be clear, Trump being in office has major consequences. Again, if Donald Trump hadn't got in office, imagine what this country would have been. Imagine how many people, unvetted people, would have been in this country. Imagine what your neighborhoods would look like in another 4 years if Kamala Harris would have been able to be the president and she would have left those borders wide open. You would have been replaced. Not only that, they would have been flying illegal immigrants into swing states and permanently changing the voter demographics. We would have been a forever blue country. So, yeah, these elections do have consequences. But in terms of the powerful giving up their power, they're not giving it to. They will appease us to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, we are still beholden to Israel because of all the blackmail and all the dirt that that country has on our politicians. So as voters, we don't have any say about the wars that we entertain or that we engage in the wars that we fund. They will tell you no, they don't got it for you, but we got it for a whole nother country that really doesn't have anything to do with us. They will convince you that what's in the best interest of a foreign entity is in the best interest of you, and you are expected to accept it without question. Because these politicians have been compromised. So they will do and say whatever to justify their support of Israel, and they will do and say whatever to cover up what has happened to these children. Point blank, period. That's the bottom line. Yeah, they lost their entire minds. I'm assuming I ain't have to ask how you're right wing to me, and I'm progressive independent, but give me a decent Democrat in the States, not a right winger. No way. Yeah, there's no, where are the decent Democrats? Where? Where are the decent Democrats? I actually no, there is one. I forgot his name. It'll come to mind. There is a decent Democrat. Okay. Anyways, guys, and when I say we're the decent Democrats, I'm not talking about regular Americans. No, I'm talking about these politicians. Where are the Democrats with the balls of a Thomas Massey? Where are they? Okay. So, foremost, give me a second. I'm going to pull up the video that the White House of the interview that the White House press secretary did first, and then we're going to pull up the video that the interview that Donald Trump and Pam Bondi did today. Here we go. Okay, hopefully y'all can see this. I got this off of Brian Tyler Cohen's channel. I feel like I've heard of him, but honestly, I don't know much about him.
Of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation.
And you know what? I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. To be fair, I'm sure the cases that they can touch and the bad people that they can put in jail, they're going after. But guess what? Though it's necessary, and I'm glad that they're doing that, that's low-hanging fruit, boo. What matters is when you touch the cases that you're not supposed to touch. That's what matters. Those are the big fish. That's what's going to separate you between somebody that's about that action, about that life, and somebody that's only for justice when it's convenient. And to be fair, let me be clear. I understand. Their families' lives are probably on the line. Most of these people have kids, they have spouses. So I understand the predicament that they're in. Are you willing to sacrifice yours for everybody else's? Probably not. And that's why people always tell me, Mariah, you should get into politics. No. You know why? Because I have a daughter. I can't. I can be compromised. Do y'all understand? If somebody tells me they're going to do something to my daughter, I'm choosing my daughter every time. Every single time. And that's why my suggestion moving forward is that if you have too much to lose, you should not be in these sort of positions. You should not head the DOJ. You should not be investigating these type of things. These are for people who don't have family that they talk to or care about and don't have kids and don't have a wife. It's harsh to say that, but these type of appointmentships should only be given to people who absolutely cannot be compromised because they don't have much to lose. That's the reality of the situation here. Good Dems in Congress. I don't like any of these people you're bringing up. Nina Turner, I do like. Trump too short since G7. Hi, what's up, TK peoples? Okay, I didn't understand the point of that, but welcome.
Going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this attorney general and the FBI director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong.
We appreciate that. Honestly and truly. Again, I do believe this country is going to be safer under the Donald Trump administration. I do believe we will see a sharp decline in violent crimes. I think those days, especially, I don't know about in places like New York where they are very offender friendly. Like they catch these people and let them go because supposedly the bond and the bail system is unfair. And though I have had my criticisms of it, we have seen the consequences of dismantling that system in New York. Their crime rate is terrible. I couldn't imagine living in New York. It seems like a cesspool of degeneracy. So again, I believe this country will be safer. We don't have any jobs to give to foreigners. And I have nothing against foreigners. But I believe what's left will be available for Americans if they want to do whatever job market is left now. Okay, it's bad right now. And I said this before Donald Trump got in office, that even if he could get in office and work some type of miracle, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And that's just the reality of the situation. But as far as violent crime, as far as safety, yes, we're in much better hands than a Kamala Harris. Because the Democrats, they let crime run wild and rampant and make every excuse for as to why people do crime. When honestly and truly, it don't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Okay? Because after they've done it, the victims don't want to hear about their past and all these terrible things that happened to them. I'm just being honest. Once the damage is done, it doesn't even matter.
That they promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
So let me get this straight. Apparently, when Attorney General Pam Bondi said this,
you could have 1 million followers and still not be able to pay your bills.
Over 1 million creators and brands
and
are
you know
growing
what?
faster.
D. Malley, Donald Trump is going to try to basically say that too. Like, why are y'all still talking about this? I'm going to pull up the video. And my whole thing is, you know, from her statement, forget about Epstein and focus on, I'm sorry, let me go back. You said, what I got from her statement was, forget about Epstein and focus on stopping other people like him. But the thing is, none of these other people are like him. They're like him in terms of like, if you want to talk about the child SA, yeah, like we definitely need to stop those people. But this was an operative. This was an asset. None of these people are doing it to the level that he was doing it. This man had our politicians in compromising positions. And whoever has that kind of intelligence owns our politicians. They own the American people. So it's like, this is the big fish. Nobody else is like him in terms of all these other people they're going after. None of them is like him. We need a millennial president who never grew up rich. JD Vance went to an Ivy League. He grew up poor though. Tell him to go make some money and ball out, not be president. He's smart and self-righteous and judgmental. JD Vance grew up very poor in a single mother household. I actually like him, and he has way more sense than Ilhan Omar. It's not even close. And that's what I'm saying. I can't wait till he runs for president in 2028, because we will see if he ever gets the opportunity to debate a lot of these leftists. He will no doubt mop the floor with them. Feel like Hollywood is crumbling and many celebs are getting exposed, so maybe that might be it. Let's continue.
Engaging better and selling more.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
Apparently that.
Okay. And you know what? I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she didn't have an actual client list, like a single client list. Maybe she did mean that I have the whole file to go through. Because honestly, it doesn't take much time to review a client list unless the list was just that long. And my whole thing is, why would that be something that you waited to review though? Like, I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care what I'm doing. If I'm paying Bondi and somebody drops a Jeffrey Epstein file on my desk, I'm not just putting that to the side. The first thing I'm doing is trying to find that client list. I will sit in that office and stay up all night until I get to the bottom of it. I mean, damn, how long will it take? So off top, there is something suspicious. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but as I'm talking about it, there's something suspicious about that statement. But I'm not going to hold you. I knew then, once they didn't put those files out within the first month, that we weren't getting the truth. So again, this was just her trying to delay again.
That didn't mean the client list was on her desk, but rather that all of the paperwork in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes were on her desk. And if you're thinking to yourself, that doesn't really make sense, you'd be right. It doesn't, because it is a desperate lie. And when you tell lies on top of lies on top of other lies, this is what happened. You're left spinning a web of lies so clearly false that you just sound like an absolute joke. Perhaps this White House might consider, even just once, being honest about literally anything. Also, it's pretty rich hearing Levitt explain that this DOJ is committed to putting bad people behind bars as it relates.
I don't agree with that. I mean, this office has been honest about a lot of things. This is something that they're lying about. And that's why I don't agree with the Democrats. That's why I can't get with the Democrats. Every time I watch Democrats and they're like, Trump's lying. And I'm like, y'all use lying so much. But every time, like, y'all literally had a president in office who during the 2020 election, people lied about his mental status. Then y'all lied to yourselves and told the rest of us that we are not doctors when we could clearly see that that man had dementia. Y'all lied to your own self about the mental state of y'all president. Lied to y'all self about the fact that they sabotage people like RFK and Marianne Williamson during the Marianne Williamson during the primaries, lied to y'allself about the fact that they intentionally swapped out Kamala Harris for Joe Biden at the end, that it was a coup, lied to yourself about that, ignored all the child sex trafficking that was going on. Democrats, for the most part, don't even really care about the Epstein files. That's more of a right-wing thing. Y'all call us conspiracy theorists about everything. And then when you get proven wrong, don't admit it. Just find something else to say somebody's lying about that. So it's like, for a party of people that are always saying lying, y'all ignored all the money laundering that went on from the Biden administration to Zelensky. But every little thing that Donald Trump says is a lie. Now, they lying about this situation with Epstein for sure. This is a lie. It's a clear and blatant lie. But let's not pretend like the people that y'all run interference for are honest. Hell, they lie every time they get on this TV and say that Donald Trump is deporting American citizens and immigrants. Y'all can't even be honest about the difference between an illegal immigrant and a legal immigrant. Y'all can't even be honest between the difference of what is a man and what is a female. Y'all won't even be honest about that. Something as simple as what is a man and what is a woman. Y'all won't even tell the truth about that. But everybody else is lying. Oh, see, no, I'm not going to take my foot up off y'all neck. It's a perfect play because motherfuckers been distracted by this for years now. By what? Been distracted by what? Are you talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Why do people in government act so nonchalant and disconnected, like they are not excited about UFOs, aliens, elite deviants, and hate the billionaires? I don't know. Democrat Party is at civil war. So is liberalism. And so is the black community. Plus live in gang areas. So black Chicago Democrats ain't never seen nothing. They play craziest. Our people are traumatized and brainwashed. Exactly.
It's the whole Epstein saga when Donald Trump literally appointed the prosecutor, Alex Acosta, who gave Epstein a sweetheart deal to his own cabinet in his first term. In 2007, as U.S. Attorney, Acosta approved a plea deal that allowed Epstein to plead guilty to a single charge of...
To be fair, Donald Trump appointed a lot of people during his first term that he was advised to appoint that he didn't invite back during his second term. And he said because he learned his lesson. So you know what? I'll give him that. But here's my thing. With these new appointees, needs to be a different outcome. We were rooting for Kash Patel. We were rooting for Pam Bondi. That was the point of him. Drain the swamp, right? Tell on these people. Snitch. It's not enough snitching going on for me.
Solicitation in exchange for a federal non-prosecution agreement. And Trump rewarded that guy with a role as Secretary of Labor in his White House. So let me ask you, do you really think Donald Trump is going to be the guy who gives you all the answers you're looking for when he has surrounded himself by the very people who are responsible for why Epstein has evaded accountability in the first place? This all comes in the aftermath of a bombshell
I don't
Axios
agree
story
with this,
yesterday
sir,
revealing,
you're bringing
quote,
up old stuff. You're bringing up old stuff. So for him to be like, oh, he surrounded himself, during his first administration with these, we have different people. So yes, we expected a different outcome. You're bringing up old stuff. That's the thing. These Democrats have to be intellectually dishonest every time they make a case. And question, were we supposed to expect Kamala Harris to give us the truth? And that's why I will forever say this. With Donald Trump, There are going to be some things that MAGA takes an L on. We clearly took an L on this. But at least we tried. Do y'all understand? At least we said we know what we're going to get with the Dems and Kamala Harris. We're going to get more lies. This woman is not promising not to get us into any war. As a matter of fact, she knows it's on the agenda. So she's not even going to say that. It's par for the course. We're going to keep sending more money to Ukraine, more money to Israel. And on top of that, to add gasoline on top of a burning fire, we're going to have wide open borders. We're going to replace you as a worker and a voter base. So, in so many ways, that administration was going to betray the American people. MAGA saw an opportunity to try to do something differently. And for that, I don't think that MAGA should feel bad or feel like they made the wrong decision, because what was the alternative? You only had two choices here.
President Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded they have no evidence that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. So apparently, we've got hundreds of victims, tons of evidence, and yet not a single client other than Epstein himself that this administration can point to, despite months and months and months of promises saying the exact opposite. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. It also makes moments like this one back in February all the more ridiculous in retrospect.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals.
I just told my agency.
Y'all know why this is also a bad look?
To burn
I'm just gonna
every
keep it real. Give me a
whiteboard
second.
we own. Why? ClickUp just released their brand new whiteboard.
Y'all know why this is also a bad look? Let's be clear. Most Democrats don't care about Epstein. They don't. They didn't. They didn't before Donald Trump got in office. The majority of them didn't care. They weren't calling for Joe Biden to release the files. They weren't asking Kamala Harris if she was going to release the files. Like, they did not care. Right? But this is why this is a bad look. This fallout that Donald Trump just had with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk got on Twitter and said that Donald Trump was in those Epstein files. Now the Dems are paying attention. See, they didn't care before. Now they're paying attention. So you had Elon Musk come out last month and implicate Donald Trump in those Epstein files. And then this month you have Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel saying that it was a self-deletion and that he acted as a lone wolf. So can you blame the Democrats for now using that as ammunition to say that Donald Trump was probably on that island touching A minors? This is what happens when you don't really clear something up. You leave yourself open to speculation. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump did or that he didn't do it. Hell, we don't know. At this point, we don't know. And no, I am not going to be that ride or die, go hard for a grown man that I don't know to say, oh, he would never. I don't know him like that. I believed in his platform. I agree with him on domestic policy. I believe he was a better candidate than Kamala Harris. That is the extent to which I can vouch for him. That's it. That's all. I do not know that man personally. I don't know his private dealings. And guess what? You can't be mad at the Democrats now for using that as ammunition. He handed it to them. He handed it to them. They cleared Diddy's tapes too. This is an elite thing that crosses political lines. Exactly. I'm going to get into that.
Hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability.
That was Alina Habba explaining that, quote, we have flight logs, information, names that will come out. So was she lying then, or is the White House lying now? Because clearly there's a major disconnect here. Although perhaps we can ask those right-wing influencers who went to the White House and waved around their little Epstein binders. People like Jack Posobiec and libs of TikTok's Chaya Raichik. How about Matt Wallace, who tweeted, I just saw the leaked Epstein files, get ready for the world to change tomorrow. Quite a few right-wing influencers and personalities dangling these promises. And yet now the whole thing is closed with no further information.
It's a bad look. Totally. And a lot of these people probably didn't ever see anything. Who would give them those binders? Like, it's anybody with a working brain would know that an influencer or a media personality does not have access to those type of files. Let's be for real. So if you fell for that, I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's your fault. You got played. But it's still a bad look.
So my question becomes, where is all of this promised information? Where are all the smoking guns? Unless these right-wing personalities were lying to their followers back when they made these promises.
Obviously.
Stringing them along with promises of world-changing news. Is that what they did? Fool the rubes in their base for social media clout? Or was there actually major news that they too are hiding, just like this White House seems to be doing? Because it sure seems like someone was lying. So the question becomes, were they lying before or are they lying now? And of course, we would all be fools to ignore the fact that there are quite a few warning signs that might explain why this White House has a vested interest in keeping this under wraps. Take, for example, a certain tweet that nearly got Elon Musk deported. He took to Twitter writing, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT.
Okay, and here's the thing. I want to say with all my heart that Donald Trump didn't have anything to do with that man or that island. I want to say that, but I can't say that. I can't say, because of how this was handled. I cannot say that. And y'all can't be mad at people like me, people like Lou, who are saying, because of the way this is handled, I am not going to put on my cape and say that this is not fishy. And that with absolute certainty, Donald Trump was not in those files. I can't say, and it's not my fault. I can't say that. They chose to handle it this way for whatever reason, whether they were getting blackmailed. It could be something as simple as Israel came to Donald Trump and was like, we will unalive you and your entire family if y'all put this out. Because again, it's suspected that Epstein was an asset of the Mossad. For those of y'all who don't know, that's like the CIA, that's the intelligence agency of Israel. And that he was running these operations, these blackmail operations, and catching these American politicians in compromising positions so that they could have leverage over the United States when it comes time for them to wage wars and for us to send money. I told y'all we send $3.8 billion a year to Israel just to help them fund their military. We bankroll their military. They have nuclear weapons. They're not supposed to have those. We don't say anything to them about that. They're not supposed to have them. They illegally have nuclear weapons. Nobody says a word to them about it. Yet we're supposed to care about Iran getting one. So I can't be upset with the Dems If they now believe that Donald Trump was in cahoots with Jeffrey Epstein or that he did something fishy, because guess what? I can't disprove it. It's clear that there were lies and cover-ups that went on with this situation. He didn't go out of his way to try to clear his name. So what can I say except for ignore that this happened, which I'm not going to do? Because children are involved. Children are involved. And the sovereignty of our nation is involved.
And if Elon's claims aren't moving enough, then maybe just consider the footage that's already out in the zeitgeist, like this. Oh, and if that's not enough, then take Trump's very own cagey comments about releasing the Epstein files when asked.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff.
Again, just talking to somebody out in the open, there are plenty of people who talked to P. Diddy, who had conversations with Diddy in public areas. That don't mean that they were at Diddy parties. So, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that Donald Trump was on that island doing stuff with children. Even RFK admitted to taking a flight with Epstein one time. And he said that he got the feeling that he was a very weird, strange person, or that he was probing for information to try to like see if he could be compromised. RFK said this. Donald Trump is a friendly person. We saw him having a conversation at Jimmy Carter's funeral with Obama. And they've talked so much shit about each other, for lack of a better word. So that isn't proof. But again, I can't blame the Democrats. Furthermore, again, nobody in their party, Kamala, who was running, she never even offered to look into those Epstein files. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's probably something that she told the people who were interviewing her that you can't even ask me about. Don't even ask me about that. Y'all know she always had her rules. So many things were off the table. That's why she wouldn't go on Joe Rogan, because he wouldn't agree to all those stupid rules. So yeah, you can't call MAGA dumb for trusting the person that was at least willing to speak on it.
In there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
So look, will this have any impact on Trump supporters' willingness to carry water for the God King? Maybe for a few people, they'll realize the extent to which they were lied to by Trump, by Bongino, by Bondi, by Patel, by all of these right-wing grifters who waved around their...
We realize we were lied to. Don't call us water carriers. Again, people who are willing to go to the polls and vote for somebody who clearly had dementia can never call a Trump supporter a water carrier. You just can't. And y'all would have voted for him again had he not been swapped out for Kamala Harris at the last minute. Like, let's be for real here. Be for real about the decisions that you make. Look at yourself. The call is coming from inside the house. Y'all will forever hold that L. Y'all will forever hold that L for voting a dementia patient in office. And this is not conspiracy theory. They were on national news in December talking about the extent to which it was covered up. They were on CNN talking about this. Let's be clear. You have no room to talk about anybody.
Little binders filled with supposedly incriminating information. Maybe now everyone will realize what a con job the MAGA Republican Party has become. The whole thing is a scam to keep the marks thinking that they're fighting some righteous fight, when in reality, the real purpose of that stuff is keeping everybody nice and distracted with flashy topics like Epstein, while Republican officials use that cover to lower their own taxes. Perhaps now MAGA will finally realize the extent to which they've all been conned, while people in power make themselves richer.
Honestly and truly, we don't care about like right-wing people don't care about taxes being lowered on the. We don't care. So it's not a con. I don't care. I really and truly do not care. If you understand how the right would prefer there be no taxes at all. So that's not a con to right-wing people. I'm sorry. That was something that was talked about. Hey, Skinny Mariah can't stay. Just wanted to say hi, even though you're not American. I am American. What are you talking about? But glad you stopped in, Skinny. Epstein's Wikipedia tells you many things about what he did in his career. He has quite the history. Yeah. I mean, this is really sad. And I can't say that I am not disappointed. I think what's even more disappointing for me is that we know that all the foolishness with Israel is going to continue. Us being sucked into unnecessary wars is going to continue. And children are going to continue to be harmed because these child trafficking rings don't just happen in the United States. They happen all over the world. And I'm sure that Jeffrey Epstein is not the only one to run a child trafficking ring. Like I told y'all in the beginning of this live, the United States has the biggest market for child trafficking in the world. In the world. And that's why it was so important that we close those borders. Because no lie, kids were literally being delivered from Latin America through the southern border to these companies that traffic children. They front as companies and they traffic children. Hi, No ID. Where's Allie? I'm so glad that you brought up Allie Carter. Thank you, No ID. Welcome to the live. This is my first time seeing you. I'm actually glad that you brought up Allie Carter. For those of y'all who are new to my channel and maybe y'all haven't been paying attention because a lot of Allie Carter's story has more so been connected to P. Diddy and not necessarily Jeffrey Epstein, but in my opinion, they're all connected. The fact that the feds, give me 1 second. The fact that the feds brought up all those charges against P. Diddy, then like right before the jury was about to deliberate, they dropped a ton of charges that they could prove, like the gun charges. They could prove those charges. Like they dropped so many charges. And then he ends up getting off on lesser charges of prostitution and not the trafficking through force or coercion. Like it was just fishy. So there have been theories that the feds running down on Diddy was really an operation to seize tapes that Diddy had in his possession of celebrities and elites doing stuff in his house. So it was just a means to which they could get the proof that he could use against them. Now, Lil Rob used to be one of Diddy's producers. Lil Rob said that he had been talking to the feds before Cassandra Ventura, his ex-girlfriend, came out with her story. Then she publicly came out with her story, and that was the smoking gun that they needed to go ahead and raid his house and use that as a reason to get into his house. And that used to sound crazy to me. But now it's making more and more sense. Especially considering that they basically let him off with a slap on the wrist. I mean, I doubt this man gets 10 years, let alone maybe 5. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you for subscribing, No ID. I follow Allie Carter on Telegram. I've heard of Telegram. I've never been on there. I don't know if I believe Lil Rod. He seems like he has no credibility. Ain't nobody came out and said he's lying. You took my exact thoughts. I'm following the money and connecting all of the dots. You're on point. Thank you. Y'all pray for me. Pray for my safety. No, for real. Okay, so I am going to share, for those of y'all who don't know who Allie Carter is, I am going to share a couple of videos of her on TikTok. Give me 1 second. Favorites. Here we go. Now, in this video, she is talking about the underground tunnels in cities that exist. Now, I first learned about these tunnels during the pandemic on Rondell's Unpopular Opinion. Shout out to Rondell. On her Patreon, she did a video of it, and there were other people who were talking about these tunnels. Well, Allie Carter has come out and said that underneath the United States, that there is a network of underground tunnels and cities where children are trafficked under, and that the headquarters is under the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California, which makes sense. It's Los Angeles, California, and it's a border state. Furthermore, do y'all remember a few months ago when Elon Musk let Oprah into his underground tunnels, like that were connected to his business? And I was like, what the hell? These are like really advanced tunnels, which got me to thinking this is not impossible, because this tunnel system that Elon Musk had was very intricate. And we saw that on television. Okay, so I can only imagine what was built. Before I even pull up this video, do y'all remember Us with Jordan Peele? I always say that Hollywood prepares us to think that these things are fiction by like introducing it to us in the movies. And do y'all remember how like the tethered lived underground in the United States? And then all of a sudden, all this information started coming out about the tunnels. And I'm like, yeah, they always try to make us feel like they hide it in plain sight. They try to make us seem like this stuff is crazy. It's a matter of fiction. No, a lot of this stuff really is a matter of fact. So shout out to Allie Carter for being brave enough to come talk about this.
There's cities underground, there's warehouses underground, there's actual homes underground. People build these tunnels and they've built them for decades. There's a lot, and elite celebrities, they go down there for parties. Underneath the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California. I was there for a cock party. We walked through the museum, through the garden area, and employees led us to underground tunnels. We had to take an elevator and stairs. We had to be led. There is no way that you can just walk into a tunnel. The entrances and the exits are in your face, but there's no way that you can just walk through tunnels. You'll get stuck. You'll go deeper and deeper, and you won't be able to come back out because it's hard, because the tunnels run all different directions for miles and miles and miles and miles. So if you go down the wrong one, you'll get stuck, and it's confusing to turn back around and get back to where you're going. So you have to be led in and out. I think people assume that when there's cities underground.
Okay, so Allie Carter is alleging that there are cities, that there are tunnels in the United States where these kids get trafficked. Here's another video.
My bones will never be the same.
Let me be clear. Allie Carter did these interviews before the feds ran down on P. Diddy, before we knew there was any type of investigation, and before Cassie Ventura came out and made her claims. These videos were on the internet.
My heart will never be the same. My soul will never be the same, but I'm still sitting here. So I'll still continue to try to do what I can do. To be a voice for my friends that are no longer here, and for the kids who don't have a voice right now, while everybody is too busy running towards the adults. Running to comfort grown-ass men that you know are wrong. Everybody now.
So this
Not
was
that black.
This was her response to the Diddy verdict. She had went missing for a while, and people were like, "Where's Allie Carter? Are the feds going to bring her in to testify?" I knew that feds weren't going to bring Allie Carter in to testify because when Allie Carter was doing those interviews, she was not just implicating P. Diddy. She was saying the rich and the elite have these tunnels that connect to their houses where they traffic children through. I'm also going to pull up an interview, and I'm running short on time, but I hope I can get it up before I get off of here, of this prostitute that did an interview on Soft White Underbelly. If you don't watch his channel, you should. And I remember before the feds ran down on P. Diddy, this particular prostitute did an interview where she said that she went to a P. Diddy party and everybody thought she was lying. After the feds ran down on Diddy, Soft White Underbelly invited her back to the channel. And she was like, yeah, everybody thought I was lying, but I was telling the truth. And she says that she saw A minors at a party in the middle of the night. She said there were little people who were not supposed to be there. And it was like they were there like a fetish. I'm going to pull the video up. I did a whole show on this.
Black man. No, that can't be true. No, he can't be having satanic rituals. No, there's no way. Yeah, there is. And now you see. So now what you gonna do about it? Still, here we are. With everybody, I want evidence, I want evidence. You got it. Now what you gonna do?
Those parties involve children. The media is making it sound
They
like
don't just involve children. They involve animals.
Animals?
The adults who are swearing up and down, I left at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You shouldn't have been there in the first place.
You shouldn't have been there. And on top of that, if you knew that there were children coming in after a certain hour, why the hell didn't you say anything until right now?
Coward.
All these people, I knew he was crazy. So you guilty. I told you everybody guilty. You're guilty. Get that shit straight. I don't care who it is that's saying, I left at 1 o'clock in the morning. Because why? Because why? You covered your ass. This is not just one problem. This is decades worth of an issue. You know that, right? Decades. He's one of millions. The party's just been going for forever, and everybody just got there. Hello. And thank you for those who are like, I've been sitting with you this whole time and I believe you. Thank you. You have no idea how much y'all mean to us. There ain't no money there's no price that anybody could put on that to say unconditionally, I believed you since the beginning. Thank you. Because that shit has been my whole entire life. That's all. I don't need any money. I want to go to school. I really want to go to school. It's not even about graduating. It's about the fact that it's the principle of the thing. I can say I did it because all my life I've been illiterate and I've just been a sex slave and I can do all that. No, I could go to school. I could be a grown-ass woman and I am a woman of my word. I'm a choreographer and I love kids even though I can't have kids. So if you have met me in this time, I thank you for spending the time that you have with me. Because now that you see all this stuff on Twitter and now that you see all this stuff on social media, you've met the real me.
And shout out to Allie Carter. I'm gonna pull up the video, guys. I only have about 5 more minutes. I have to start work at 8:30, y'all. Ugh. Well, thank God I have a job. Let me not say that. Let me be grateful I have a job. I'm gonna pull up this video of Tanea real quick. I'm gonna try to fast forward to the part where she said that she saw. So we have Allie Carter saying that there were children, not only children. She said they were doing stuff with minors. I told y'all about that blind item on Lipstick Alley that one of my subscribers sent me, and people can say, oh, those are not reliable sources, but let's remember, Lipstick Alley was talking about the freak-offs and Diddy putting his hands on Cassie and Kim Porter. Lipstick Alley was reporting on that way back in 2010 and 2009, and there was a blind item in there where a woman said that Diddy tried to force her and her friends into having a seance. So we know they deal in the occult. We won't forget about Larry Johnson, Jay-Z's best friend, who said that they were at a party. It was close to midnight. All of a sudden, children came in the room. For those of y'all who don't know who Larry Johnson is, he was an NBA player. He used to be Jay-Z's best friend. They shared an apartment together. I brought that video footage up on my channel too. He said these children came in. It was late at night. Beyonce was a little drunk, and she asked one of the children, "This is sexy, isn't it?" Okay, some of y'all might get mad because y'all know that Beyonce is your fave. I don't care.
Keep talking about I'm supposed to meet this producer, but we're not talking about a friend. I'm not going to go inside a house where they said my friend can't go. So we just walking around mingling, but we tripping out looking at everybody.
This is Tanea on Soft White Underbelly. Okay, so I skipped the first part. Basically, she knew a prince. She knew like this Arab prince who took her to go meet Diddy. They went to a Diddy party.
Like they off everything smoking and jumping around like hooligans. And so I seen P. Diddy or whatever, and I seen him with the prince. I'm not going to say what he was doing, but something really, I get real nervous. Something real crazy because I don't like to really expose people. I could talk about me, but when it's about like me, my family, because it's us. But when it's other people, bro, doing something real sexual, that's all I'm going to say. So that we could see and so that we can get turned on, okay? So he's doing something with himself. And I'm like, girl, do you see him? She's like, yes. But mind you, we're screaming like, girl, do you see him? Oh my God. Because of the music. And I'm just like, whatever. Then he starts to act like really obnoxious, like, I'm the king of the world, jumping around, doing all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's regular P. Diddy shit. But what got me was how he walked up to me and was like, why are you not in the house? And I'm like, what do you mean? He like, how are you enjoying my house? So we had a little talk or whatever. He started talking about all these things. Oh yeah, you're the one that, I seen was telling me about the prince. He's like, oh yeah, it's very nice to meet you. Like your life is not going to be the same. Da 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 da.
We saw that this was a tactic that he used. Butter these women up, gas these women up, tell them their life is going to change. All these games and tactics. But this is a real deal woman of the evening, woman of the street. So she wasn't going for any of that. This was not a woman that was green. I'm sorry. Larry Johnson was an NFL player. And yes, Jamal, it is weird for two grown men. Maybe that's like, well, here in Colombia, it's common to see that because they live together to split the rent. But two grown men of means living together, it is very weird.
He started talking about going to Cuba. Are you going to Cuba with us? I'm like, what? And
thank you, Alexis.
That's the thing. I didn't really know about this. So this is when I start asking around or whatever. And I said that in the last interview. But to get to the point, I ended up going in the house because he was on me like, go in that house. I'm like, okay. And then the person that he was dating at that time, we're not going to say her name, but we all know, she came and was like looking at him like, what are you doing? Because he was talking to me for too long. So she came to like rub on his shoulders or whatever. And he just pushed her. And I'm looking like real uncomfortable, like, oh, I know what this is about. I don't want to be in the middle of there, whatever. So that's what made me go into the house because I'm like, okay, let me just go in the house. So I told my friend, like, wait right here, girl. Let me just put on these shoes, see what this house is about. Walk up in there. I don't judge people because at the time I was just smoking weed. But when people are out of their mind and when people, what you don't want to be a part of. And it's just like I'm seeing stuff that you see on the movies. This corner, this got going on. This corner, they over here doing this. This corner, they over there having sex. This corner, I'm just going to say, because I don't know what I can say because I'm not trying to be incriminating myself, but they were dressed up like little Harajuku Barbies.
Like what?
Little people, okay?
This is where she's going to talk about the fact that there were children at these Diddy's parties.
We're not going to say what type of little people, but like a fetish. And I'm looking like, what are they doing here? Like dressed up, little red lipstick, like they weren't supposed to be there. But I'm just looking like maybe it's some type of production going on. But why would they be at this party at 7:00 in the morning with grown people? Like, why would they be here? So I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, but then when I'm looking in this corner, this person laid out, and I'm looking like, what's going on? Then I'm seeing like Instagram models or whatever. I'm like, oh, hey. So I'm kind of getting distracted, feeling like kind of comfortable. Like, she's here. Oh my gosh, she's here. And then I see P. Diddy, walking through the house, like with his eyes on me. Like, like, is this, you see, like, are you agreeing with this? And I don't. Now, mind you, I still got my friend out there. So I walked out of the house and I'm telling her, like, oh my God, bitch. Like, this is, oh my God, she like for real? But I'm just like, I'm not even tripping. Like, oh, well, like, this nigga's weird. Like, so I'm really looking at the situation like, I don't even want to be involved in this type of stuff because once I see something.
So to make a long story short, she left. But what she saw was so bad that she's tiptoeing around her words because she's like, I don't want to self-incriminate, right? Because at the end of the day, she's saying children were at these P. Diddy parties. And if y'all think the feds don't know that, if y'all think that they didn't see some of this stuff on tape or on camera, if y'all didn't think that there were bigger charges that they could have brought up against P. Diddy, but for whatever reason, they chose not to. They focused on the whole Cassie situation, which again, he should absolutely go to jail for what he did to her. But that whole trial was a sham and an excuse to get those tapes, in my opinion. Because they will talk about the stuff that happens to the adults, but they don't want to talk about all these people who are involved in these child sex trafficking rings across the United States. And like she was saying, a lot of the people that were there were social media influencers. These are probably girls and celebrities that y'all like their pictures and look at their posts and are like, oh my gosh, it's so inspirational every single day. And they're at these Diddy parties, at these big orgies, freaking off with children present. She's not the only one to say it. People didn't believe her at first. People said Allie Carter was crazy. People just completely ignored Larry Johnson when he talked about the situation that happened with Beyonce and how those children were paraded in at a party at midnight. Those tats are fire. Yeah. So my whole thing is I'm circling this back because y'all might be like, well, what does this have to do with Donald Trump and Epstein and all that? The feds put on a show to perform a trick for the elite. Just my opinion. These MFs are gross. Yes. And I'm gonna circle this back and I'm gonna bring this back to this. Though I agree with Donald Trump's domestic policy, he has done things that make absolutely no sense when it comes to dealing with that Israel and Iran situation. And now, him, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel are acting like this is a super matter of suicide. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not going for it. And I'm going to keep my foot on his neck. We might not ever get the truth. I'm going to do my part. And for those of y'all who get upset because I'm supposed to be a yes man and go along with everything Donald Trump says, I do not care. Your integrity is not measured in your ability to call out your enemies. Your integrity is measured in your ability to call out your friends. So that's me. That's who I am. That's who I've always been. I'm not going to change for nobody. I want to be successful on YouTube. I appreciate all my subscribers. But if I have to lie to keep you here, then you might as well do what you got to do now. Rather you stay, but if you got to go, I understand because I'm not changing me. Yep, I said the same thing. I wonder if you will ever find out the truth. I don't know, but we got to try. With that said, guys, I got to get off of here because I got to go to work. Thank y'all for showing up. Please hit the like button on your way out. Show my video if you care. I'll see y'all next time. Share my video if you care. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.